In 1997, the world of American coinage was already filled with a century of rich history, but that year gave rise to a coin that would quietly slip into circulation only to later emerge as a star in the eyes of collectors. The 1997 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny, struck at the Denver Mint, is a fascinating piece of numismatic history, one that combines tradition, design, minting innovation, and the thrill of rarity. At first glance, it seems like just another penny, the kind you might find in your pocket change without giving it a second thought. Yet, this coin has achieved recognition in repeated auctions, surprising collectors with values soaring as high as $133,000, a staggering figure for something most people see as small change. The Lincoln cent, first issued in 1909, was designed to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Victor David Brenner, the artist responsible, created an obverse design that would become one of the most enduring images in American coinage history. His profile of Lincoln, facing right, with his distinct beard and solemn gaze, stood out as the first realistic portrait of a president on a circulating coin. For Americans, it was a bold step forward, bringing history into the palms of ordinary people and celebrating one of the nation's most revered leaders. By 1997, nearly 90 years later, Brenner's design was still central to the penny, a testament to its timeless quality. On the obverse of the 1997 D. Lincoln penny, Lincoln's bust is accompanied by inscriptions that have become standard. "In God we trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the year 1997 to the right. Beneath the date lies the D mint mark, identifying the coin as a product of the Denver Mint, one of the most prolific facilities in U.S. history. This mint has been responsible for producing billions of coins, often filling the majority of the nation's demand for circulation coinage. The reverse of the coin displays Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial design, first introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This reverse replaced the earlier wheat ears design and presented a more modern, stately image. The memorial, with its strong lines and recognizable structure, was a fitting tribute. Gasparo's careful detail even included the small figure of Lincoln visible within the memorial's central chamber if one looked closely enough. Surrounding the memorial are the inscriptions "United States of America," "E Pluribus Unum," and the denomination 1 cent. By 1997, pennies were composed primarily of copper-plated zinc, a composition introduced in 1982 due to the rising cost of copper. This change had altered the weight and feel of the penny, but to most Americans, it remained the same familiar coin. However, for collectors, this shift opened new layers of interest. Differences in composition, minting quality, and dye varieties became key factors that could elevate a common cent into a rare and valuable treasure. What makes the 1997 D. Lincoln cent so captivating is not its sheer numbers. Tens of millions were struck at the Denver Mint, but the rarity of finding examples in extraordinary condition or with minting errors that make them stand apart. High-grade specimens, especially those graded at MS-67 or MS-68 by leading grading services, are highly sought after. These coins, virtually flawless and often exhibiting a brilliant luster, are rare survivors in a sea of circulation. When they appear at auction, the competition among collectors can be intense, and prices have repeatedly climbed into the tens of thousands. Errors and varieties also play a large role in the story of the 1997 D penny. Off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and other striking mishaps can turn an ordinary penny into a numismatic gem. Collectors prize these coins for their uniqueness, as each error tells the story of a fleeting moment at the mint when perfection faltered and rarity was born. Such coins, when authenticated and well-preserved, have often achieved remarkable prices in auctions, proving again that mistakes can sometimes become masterpieces in the world of coin collecting. The appeal of this coin is also tied to the enduring fascination with Lincoln cents as a whole. Collectors around the world build complete sets of these coins, spanning decades of American history. To assemble such a collection requires attention not only to dates and mint marks, but also to quality. Within that framework, the 1997 D penny, especially in high grades or with dramatic errors, becomes a centerpiece that can elevate an entire collection. The knowledge that such coins have repeatedly performed strongly at auctions only adds to their allure. Auction houses have often highlighted these rare 1997 D examples in their catalogs, emphasizing both their historical context and their near-pristine preservation. Collectors know the thrill of waiting as bids rise higher and higher, and it is often the Lincoln cent, America's humblest coin, that delivers some of the greatest surprises in these settings. Time and again, coins like the 1997 D penny have stunned audiences by achieving values that defy expectations, sometimes selling for more than luxury cars or even houses. The artistry of Brenner and Gasparo continues to resonate, and the stories of coins like this remind us that beauty and value can be hidden in the smallest places. Each penny carries with it not just its metallic worth, but the legacy of a nation, a leader, and the endless fascination of collectors who find wonder in details that most people overlook. As the spotlight shines on the 1997 D Lincoln penny, it is clear why this coin has earned a place of honor in the numismatic world. It is not just about the rarity of condition or the quirks of minting errors, but about the way such coins capture imagination. They are treasures that remind us to look closely, to value history, and to recognize that even the smallest coin can hold a story as grand as any. And so we come to the most thrilling revelation, the value. While most 1997 D Lincoln pennies will never be worth more than their face value, those rare, high-grade, or error examples have proven time and again in auctions that they can command astonishing prices. Some of the finest specimens have achieved values soaring all the way up to $133,000, an extraordinary achievement for a 1-cent piece. These coins have not just sold once, but have repeatedly surfaced in auctions, drawing attention and competitive bidding whenever they appear. The 1997 D Lincoln cent is proof that rarity and beauty can emerge from the most common of places. It is a reminder that the coins we carry every day are more than currency. They are pieces of history, potential treasures, and symbols of a legacy that continues to inspire collectors and dreamers alike. For those lucky enough to hold one of these extraordinary pennies, the story of the 1997 D is not just about copper-plated zinc, but about discovery, passion, and the enduring thrill of auctions where history and value meet under the hammer. In 1974, America was in the midst of turbulent change. It was the year when the nation was rocked by the Watergate scandal, when questions of trust and leadership dominated the news, and when cultural and economic shifts were shaping everyday life. Yet even in this time of uncertainty, small, ordinary objects like coins carried stories that reached far beyond their face value. Among them, the 1974 Lincoln 1-cent penny has become a coin that continues to surprise collectors, not only for its design and place in history, but also for the incredible values it has achieved repeatedly in auctions. While it may look like an ordinary penny to most, its story is anything but ordinary, and some examples of this coin have fetched as much as $357,000 under the spotlight of competitive bidding. The Lincoln cent already had a long and celebrated legacy by 1974. Introduced in 1909 to mark the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the coin replaced the Indian head cent and was immediately popular with the public. Victor David Brenner, the designer, created the iconic obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a profile so powerful and enduring that it remains on the penny more than a century later. The Lincoln cent was revolutionary in its time, as it was the first widely circulated American coin to feature a real person instead of symbolic figures like Liberty. By 1974, this portrait was deeply familiar, a constant reminder of Lincoln's leadership and values. The obverse of the 1974 penny displays Brenner's enduring design. Lincoln facing right, with "In God We Trust" inscribed above, Liberty to the left, and the date, 1974, to the right. The smallest mint mark identifies the coin as being struck at the San Francisco Mint, a facility long known for producing coins with higher quality strikes and often associated with collector-grade pieces. On the reverse, the design of the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to replace the wheat ears reverse, was still in place. Designed by Frank Gasparo, it depicts the monument in fine detail, complete with the statue of Lincoln visible between the columns if examined closely, an artistic flourish that made the design especially beloved. Surrounding it are the inscriptions "United States of America, E Pluribus Unum," and 1 cent. What makes the 1974 Lincoln cent particularly fascinating to collectors is not only its place in this long-running series, but also the special context of its production. The early 1970s were years of experimentation at the Mint. Rising metal prices had forced officials to consider alternatives to the traditional copper composition of the penny. In fact, in 1974, aluminum cents were struck experimentally, though they never reached circulation. While the 1974 cent itself remained copper, Its connection to this transitional period in American coinage gives it added historical significance. The San Francisco Mint produced both proof and circulation strikes of the 1974 cent, but it is the quality and rarity of specific surviving examples that elevate them from common change to treasures of numismatics. Proof coins, especially those graded at the highest levels like PR69 or PR70D cameo, are extraordinarily valuable. Their mirrored fields, razor-sharp details, and frosted devices capture the artistry of the design in a way ordinary circulation coins cannot. When these coins appear at auctions, they often command extraordinary prices, leaving bidders in awe. Beyond condition, error coins from 1974 hold immense appeal. Coins struck with double dies, off-center strikes, or dramatic die cracks stand out as anomalies, mistakes that slipped past immense quality control but became beloved rarities once discovered by collectors. Some of these errors are so striking that they transform a simple penny into a one-of-a-kind artifact. Auction records show that such error coins frequently attract heavy competition, with bidders willing to pay premiums far above what might have been expected for such a coin. The thrill of owning something unique is what fuels this auction excitement time and time again. The grading of 1974 cents also plays a major role in their value. Coins that have remained untouched since their minting, stored carefully without a single mark, often reach the highest levels on the Sheldon scale. In mint state grades like MS67 or MS68, these coins are considered nearly flawless and become instant stars in the auction world. It is these perfect or near-perfect examples that have astonished collectors with their selling prices. More than once, a 1974 penny in such pristine condition has emerged from obscurity to dominate an auction, drawing competitive bids that soar into six figures. Part of the excitement around this coin is the sheer unpredictability of its appearance. Unlike some rarities that are known and cataloged, the 1974 Lincoln cent in extraordinary condition or with dramatic errors often surfaces unexpectedly, discovered in old collections, coin rolls, or proof sets. Each time one appears, it reignites the fascination of collectors and investors alike, and the bidding wars that follow in auctions often become legendary. The repeated success of this coin in auctions is also tied to its connection with the larger history of Lincoln cents. Collectors often seek to complete sets, and the 1974 is an essential piece of that journey. But it is the exceptional versions of this coin that set hearts racing, the ones with remarkable quality, dazzling eye appeal, or rare errors. Auctioneers consistently highlight these coins in their catalogs, emphasizing their beauty and rarity, and time after time, bidders respond with enthusiasm that pushes values higher and higher. It is worth remembering that coins like the 1974 Lincoln cent are more than just metal. They are pieces of history, snapshots of an era when the United States was grappling with change, yet continuing traditions that stretched back generations. To hold one is to connect not just with the story of Abraham Lincoln, but also with the story of American money itself. The artistry, the experimentation, and the surprises that still captivate collectors today. And so we reach the most exciting revelation: its value. While the majority of 1974 pennies are worth only their face value, the rarest examples, especially those in pristine proof condition or carrying dramatic errors, have stunned the world of numismatics. In major auctions, these coins have repeatedly sold for breathtaking amounts, with some reaching as high as $357,000. That is the kind of transformation that turns a 1-cent coin into a life-changing treasure, a reminder of the power hidden in even the smallest details of our daily lives. The 1974 Lincoln 1 cent is not just a penny. It is a story of resilience, artistry, and the unexpected. It is a coin that has proven time and again in auctions that greatness can be found in the most humble of places. And for collectors and treasure hunters today, it remains a symbol of possibility, whispering that perhaps the next great discovery lies waiting in a forgotten jar of change or an overlooked proof set, ready to step onto the stage of an auction and make history once again. In 1989, America was preparing to close out a decade of transformation. The nation had experienced economic booms, cultural shifts, and political milestones, and even the smallest details of daily life were changing. Yet in the background of all these changes, the humble 1-cent coin continued to circulate in the hands of millions of people. To most, the penny was nothing more than spare change, something to be tossed in a jar, slipped into a pocket, or handed over for a quick purchase. But for coin collectors, one particular penny from that year, the 1989 D. Lincoln cent, would go on to hold a story far greater than its face value. And what seems like the most ordinary coin has, at times, stunned the numismatic world by climbing to incredible heights at auction, with some rare examples selling for as much as $183, $520. The Lincoln cent itself carries one of the most enduring legacies in American coinage. First introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first widely circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than allegorical figures like Liberty. The choice of Lincoln was significant, a tribute to the president who preserved the Union and ended slavery. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, became both celebrated and controversial, as some felt they were too prominently displayed on the coin's reverse. Still, the Lincoln cent quickly became one of the most beloved coins in America, and by 1989, it had already been in circulation for 80 years. The obverse of the coin in 1989 continued Brenner's classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Facing right, Lincoln's profile is strong, solemn, and instantly recognizable. Around his portrait are the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year of issue, 1989. On coins struck in Denver, the small D mint mark appears just below the date, signifying their origin at the Denver Mint. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial design, first introduced in 1959, was still in use. Created by Frank Gasparo, it depicted the national monument with sharp architectural lines, framed by the inscriptions "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum," with the denomination 1 cent below. Tiny yet remarkable. If you look closely, you could even see a miniature statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, making it one of the most intricate reverse designs in U.S. coinage. In 1989, millions upon millions of Lincoln cents rolled off the presses of the Denver Mint, their production so vast that they were often treated as disposable. Yet within this sea of copper-plated zinc pennies, a few extraordinary coins emerged. Some survived in immaculate, mint state condition, never touched by circulation, their luster untouched by time. Others carried rare minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes, clip planchets, or die cracks that made them instantly unique. And it is these few special coins that have repeatedly drawn the attention of collectors, creating sparks of excitement whenever they appear at auction. One of the most significant factors in determining value is condition. The grading scale used by collectors, ranging from poor 1 to mint state 70, reveals just how much difference condition can make. A 1989 D penny in average circulated condition might only be worth face value, but the same coin in MS67 or MS68, with no scratches, blemishes, or marks, can command prices that soar beyond reason. Auction houses have documented multiple sales where pristine examples of this coin, preserved as though time forgot them, achieved breathtaking results. Time and again, bidders have battled for ownership, pushing prices higher and higher until the hammer fell at values many never believed possible for a 1-cent coin. Equally fascinating are the error coins of 1989. Mistakes at the mint, though relatively rare by the late 20th century, still occurred. Double die obverse can reveal ghostly duplicate images of Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions, giving the coin an almost haunting appearance. Off-center strikes shift the design awkwardly across the surface, leaving blank crescents of metal visible. In some cases, planchets were clipped or misfed, creating irregular edges. Far from being dismissed, these flawed coins are celebrated as treasures by collectors because each one is entirely unique. No two error coins are ever exactly alike, which makes them irresistible in the world of numismatics. Over the years, 1989 D. Lincoln cents with dramatic errors have surfaced in major auctions, often accompanied by a surge of bids that catapult them into the 5 or even 6-figure range. What adds even more allure is the repeated appearance of these coins in the spotlight of numismatic auctions. While some rare coins achieve their fame in a single record-breaking sale, the 1989 D. Lincoln cent has repeatedly returned to the auction stage, each time reminding the collecting community of its hidden power. Auction catalogs describe them in glowing detail, highlighting the strength of the strike, the brilliance of the luster, or the rarity of the error. When the bidding begins, the energy is palpable as collectors recognize that opportunities to own such treasures are fleeting. Over and over, the final prices have exceeded expectations, reinforcing the legend of this small but mighty coin. The story of the 1989 D. Lincoln cent also connects with a broader history of American coinage. By this time, the composition of the penny had shifted from its original copper to a copper-plated zinc core, a change made in 1982 to save production costs as copper prices rose. This new composition was controversial, with some traditionalists lamenting the change, but also introduced new opportunities for error coins. In some cases, transitional mistakes occurred, with a small number of coins being struck on leftover copper planchets. Though extremely rare, such coins are considered the holy grail of the era, often drawing immense attention when they appear at auction. Beyond its financial value, the 1989 D. Lincoln penny carries symbolic weight. For many collectors, it represents the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself, a leader whose vision and sacrifice still resonate more than a century after his presidency. Holding a Lincoln cent, even one minted in 1989, is like holding a piece of history, a small, tangible reminder of America's journey. For those fortunate enough to own one of the rare and valuable specimens, that sense of connection is magnified by the knowledge that their coin has captured not only history, but also the imagination of the numismatic world. Collectors often share stories of unexpected discoveries, of coins found in pocket change, in inherited jars, or hidden in old collections. In more than one case, a family has stumbled upon a 1989 D penny in remarkable condition, only to later learn that it was worth a fortune. These stories fuel the excitement of the hunt, inspiring collectors new and old to examine every penny they come across, hoping for that one-in-a-million find. The 1989 D. Lincoln cent has become a symbol of that possibility, a reminder that treasures can still be found in the most ordinary of places. And now we come to the most thrilling part of this story, its value. While the majority of 1989 D pennies will never be worth more than a cent, those rare examples, the pristine mint state coins, the dramatic mint errors, and the extraordinary transitional strikes, have astonished collectors and investors alike. In repeated auctions, these coins have sold for staggering amounts, sometimes reaching as high as $183,520. That is the kind of transformation that turns the most overlooked coin in circulation into a legend, proving once again that in numismatics, greatness often hides in plain sight. The 1989 D. Lincoln cent is more than just a penny. It is a story of history, artistry, rarity, and chance. It is a coin that has reminded us time and again, in the dramatic arena of auctions, that even the smallest things can hold the greatest surprises. And for those who search through their change today, the dream remains alive. Perhaps the next 1989 D. Lincoln cent to cross the auction block will be found in the most unexpected of places, waiting quietly to reveal its extraordinary worth.